All right, there we go. People are starting to pop up now. Hey, everybody. I just kind of wanted to do this one today, and I'll probably say this a few times during this, but so much happened the last couple of days, and we have so many new subscribers now. I wanted to kind of see what would happen, and definitely wanted to thank all those people who subscribed in the last few days. I still can't believe that all happened. Yeah, starting to get some people coming in now. Hey, Jenny, you seem to me figure out every time I'm on. Yeah, that's exactly what Jordan did. The issue, and I mentioned this to somebody who commented on this a couple days ago. The issue is that there's some trolls that kind of hang around, and one troll in particular was like going after Jordan and going after Adam the Woo and going after Carpetbagger, and Jordan just was a little reluctant to subject me to that early on, at least until I had escaped the mouse, because he was concerned that this Joker might, call into Disney and try and get me fired or something. Apparently, he'd done something similar with Carpetbagger, and so Jordan's been kind of playing it very low. He hasn't been, rejecting what I'm doing or sabotaging or anything. He just wanted to take it very, very careful until I was, free of Disney and didn't have anything to worry about from that. So that was what was really going on. Jordan has been instrumental in all of this, and I mean, none of this would be happening without him. He was my first subscriber. He was giving me advice before I even went public with the site. The first 2 or 3 weeks that the site was had been created, it was private, and the only person that knew about it was Jordan, and he was giving me feedback and telling me what suggestions and making suggestions for me and stuff like that. He also allowed me to he also allowed me to talk to his Facebook fans and gave me all sorts of behind the scenes. He was the one that suggested I should do these live streams. It was actually his idea that I do this one just to thank all the new subscribers and kind of give them a chance to come in here and ask some questions. So we'll do this for a while and see what happens. Oh, I'll tell you why people can be so evil, Cindy. These people are, they're losers themselves. They can't do anything on their own, so what they end up doing is they try and tear other people down. And whatever. That's really what it is. It's them admitting that they're such a pathetic loser that they can't do anything on their own. That's really the way you combat these guys too. You say, hey, show us your YouTube channel, and we'll go make fun of that. Yeah, I like doing the do it. I love the do it yourself stuff too. Those are a lot of fun. Actually, when I get into a house, I think then you're going to really see some things going on. Jordan keeps talking about me turning this into an internet version of this old house, and it's funny. A number of you have commented on some of my videos the same way. I don't know. I haven't been in the vacuum aisle at Wally World. Could be. Well, yeah, it is a bit of a hassle sometimes, but the truth is, most of you out there are just fantastic people. That's really the reason I'm doing this. In addition to just the fact that Jordan is encouraging me, it's all of the encouragement I get from you guys. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't do this. Have I officially resigned from Disney? No, I haven't, actually. I'm just not getting any hours. So, there's no reason not to, keep it up as long as possible. I'm not even in the state anymore, but as long as it's effective, as long as I'm still technically hired there, I could, if I want to, go into the park and sign people in, and my insurance still remains active. So, you know what? There's no reason not to. Yeah, it isn't going to be wonderful adventures every day. Sometimes it's just going to be really boring. I got a video that's going to go up in about an hour, of me unloading a pod today. That's just what it looks like. Paint is looking a little bit better. I think the first coat they really did it kind of poorly. But I did see them today. It looked like they were doing like a second coat. So I haven't actually been out and looked at it, but uh, maybe they're doing a little bit better. No, I haven't really made any friends yet in Texas. I mean, there's a couple people in the apartment complex that I've talked to a few times, and they're real nice. So, like I said in one of my earlier vlogs, Texas people are really, really nice, and they'll just walk up to you and say hi and how you doing. They'll start talking to you. So I'm really enjoying it here so far. Yeah, but if I limit what I say, then I'm isolating the 99.9% of you that are really great people who just honestly want to know about me. So how are the cats? Actually, funny story here. I just opened up a drawer to get some dinner, and apparently Nibble, the orange and white one, had crawled into the drawer. So I opened up the door, and all of a sudden, boom, she comes flying out and takes off upstairs. So I guess I should have expected that. She used to do that at home too, back in California. I actually had to put magnetic locks on all of the cabinets and everything that was at kitty level because they learned how to open up the doors. And you'd open up a door, you wouldn't be able to find a cat, and you open a door and they go fly out like grease lightning. Nibble's a cute little kitty. I wish she was more friendly, but you know what? The way I always said, I have a cat named Bite, and Bite has a cat named Nibble. We both get something out of it. Yeah, the cats are definitely getting more comfortable with this place. It was a little weird in the last few weeks at the old place too, over in California, because a lot of times they had to be locked in their room when people were like looking at the house and stuff like that. So the fact that they have a little bit of ability to run around and have free run of the place at night now, that I think has made them a little bit more comfortable. What I'll do is I'll go, I'll lock my bedroom just to keep them out of there, and then they can have the whole run of the house. And basically, they just do their thing, and they're more nocturnal anyway. So yeah, it does take them a while to adjust, especially when they're as old as they are, and have lived in the place that they've lived in all their life. I mean, my house in California, that was the first place that they ever lived. And so all of a sudden, everything just went wonky when started to move, started planning to move about 6 months ago. Started moving stuff out of the house. It's like the cats don't know what's going on. It was even weird before I started moving stuff out because they had to, when I was painting and stuff like that, I had to keep them out of the rooms that were being painted. And so they got locked in their room a lot even then. So it's been weird for the last 6 or 8 months for them. Yeah, cats are always more nocturnal. They, mine especially. I mean, they're sleeping during the day. And like I said, the only reason I even was aware of Nibble was because she was in one of the cabinets and took off when I opened up. Thanks. I really appreciate you guys watching all the videos. It was really fun to be looking at like some of the data that YouTube gives because a lot of these new people that subscribe now are going back and watching some of the early videos. So, the first 5 or 6 videos now have more than 1,000 views on them, and for a long time they were 300 or 400 views. So it's really, really cool. I actually had my first video, not the video I posted yesterday, but the one the day before, uh, was the first video I ever had to hit 2,000 views, and it did that in about 20 hours. And then video I did yesterday, where I was debating whether it was Jordan or the vacuum that was the reason I got all the new subscribers. That one's right behind it, and it's like 2,100 views now too. So I'm really, really pleased with how all this is going on, and it's all because of you guys. Yeah, more vacuum videos. I actually thought about doing a live vacuum live stream here, but I don't know, maybe not. Oh, there, yeah. See, I don't always look at the names. There's Jordan. I just see he popped through there. Vacuuming with Breck. Yeah, that's it. The slippers were just completely a goof. I didn't even realize I had them on until I edited the video. I said, "Oh, that looks horrible." But I don't know, a lot of people were amused by that. So they aren't Uggs. They're I don't know something. I don't know what they are exactly, but they aren't Uggs. I don't know, Jordan. I could buy a lot of vacuums with some PayPal money. Vacuuming videos of the new brown acid. Nice. Oh, and I'm wearing my Kiss shirt today, so that's cool. I looked at. I was trying to. I was just wearing just a plain green shirt for the vlog today because, when I was out moving pods, that's hot, sweaty work, and I don't want to have my good shirts when I did that. But I knew when I got home and did the live, was going to do the live stream that I wanted to change shirts. So I went into the clothes that I have and pulled the next one off the stack. They're still not completely unpacked. And so they're just in a box. And I pulled the next one off the stack and opened it up, and it was the Kiss shirt. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, that's the one we're going to wear. Do I like Rush? To some extent. I like them a little bit. Probably more into Kiss than into Rush, but I've listened to Rush, and they're pretty cool. It's nice that I'm entertaining you. It's nice that you guys subscribe and watch my videos. The video of the second pod is going up today. I didn't get it completely empty, but I didn't expect I was going to. Uh, I had one thing I really wanted to do, and that was I had to get my social security card and my birth certificate, and I knew they were in the second pod, so that was the priority today is finding those, and I did find those, so we're in good shape. No super chat yet. I can't do that until I get approved for AdSense, and that takes about a month, I guess, to do it. So that will happen at some point, but for now, you know, yeah, I'll probably see Jordan from time to time. My parents have made it clear that I have to come home and visit periodically. So, uh, once I'm there, I'll stay with them for a while, and then go hang out with Jordan a little bit or something. Yeah. The subscribers did. Actually, it was faster than overnight. It was before I went to bed that night, and that was like 5 or 6 hours after Jordan's live stream. It was already double, and it was just kissing the 2,000 mark. It was like 1980 or 1970 or something like that. It had just hit the double where it was because it was like 982 when Jordan started his live stream. So yeah, it's a lot of times it's not just what you know, it's who you know. The Jordan effect. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Every big move that's happened on that is because of him. Haven't heard anything Flash in the last couple of days, but Flash is staying with my parents, and they're taking good care of her. My last I heard, her face is stained red with strawberries. So yeah, 2,000 lion hearts can't be wrong. It's true. Do you miss Jaw? Yes, I do. Jaw is. I miss Jaw a lot. I hope that. At some point, Jordan will come out here and bring Jaw with him, or I can go there. And like I said, I'm sure I'll see Jaw at some point. But I do miss him. He's a great dog. Well, see, that's what the live streams are about. You get 200 people watching a 2 hour live stream. That's 400 hours right there. That's a quick way to get to 4,000. But I've been looking like at the analytics in YouTube, and every category that they measure, it's like, yeah, it's just through the roof. They're comparing what's happening this month to last month, and it's like every category is up 999%, and it's only stuck at 999% because they got three digits and they can't go to 1,000%. So I'm sure a lot of it's beyond that. I don't know. Maybe Jaw's watching me now. Could be. Jordan's on, so maybe Jaw is too. If he is, hey Jaw, how are you, buddy? Shout out to the Jawster. Am I going to eventually buy a house? Yes. What I wanted to do is kind of keep myself mobile a little bit right at the beginning, so that if I find a job and it doesn't work out, I haven't like anchored myself to one place. Right now, if I get a job and I don't like it, you know what, I can get out of the lease and go somewhere else. But once you buy a house, it's really hard to move after that. I don't know anything. I don't know about doing the Amazon wish list thing. I know Jordan does that, but the truth is, there isn't really a whole lot that I need. Uh, I've lived in a house for 22 years, and basically anything I need, I really have. So, I don't know at this point. We'll see how it goes, but at this point, this is more just fun. Uh, I'm just enjoying it, and, going from there. How am I getting away with using the evil mouse image? Nobody's complained yet. Actually, I don't know. I might end up having to not use that at some point. Like I said, nobody's complained, but I don't actually own that image, so it's maybe copyright issues. So I might have to remove it at some point. I don't know. We'll see if someone complains. I don't know about the mail order bride, Jordan. I don't know if I can afford that right now. They must have it on some level. I know a friend. I have a friend that did that. He you know, fell in love with her, and he's been with her for years. So I don't know. It works pretty well, I guess. I half unloaded one of the pods. Like I said, I didn't have enough room in the truck to do everything, and the priority at the time was to get some documentation out of the pod that I needed to kind of go on. You know, I got to produce a birth certificate and and a social security card to get a driver's license. I retrieved that stuff today, and you know we'll go forward. Who's my favorite band? I don't know. It varies from time to time, but you know, I like old, classic rock, 60s and 70s stuff. That was kind of when I grew up. Um, I moved into like the punk rock movement in the 80s, and I like the grunge movement in the 90s. Um, so, you know, it could be the Beatles, it could be the Who. There was a band in the 60s called the Monks. I kind of like them a lot. Um, Actually, first punk band, really, if you really think about it. What do I think of Russia? Well, I don't know. You know, that Putin guy is quite a character. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna get that much into country music. I hear it a lot. You know, you go into stores now, or you go into a restaurant or something like that. A lot of times they are playing music, playing country music, but you know, I spent a whole bunch of time manufacturing compact discs, and one of my jobs was to listen to the disc as it was being mastered. Um, and unfortunately, most of the music we did, you know, it wasn't the Beatles or some great band. It was some person that recorded something in their basement, and a lot of it was just horrendously bad. So long time ago, I developed the ability to listen to music and be able to hear like digital errors, but not actually hear the music. I remember I was having dinner with Jordan a long time ago, and he kept commenting that the music that they were playing on in the speakers in the restaurant was just driving him crazy. And I replied back as like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't even listening to it." He said, "Oh man, I envy you." Yeah. Eddie Van Halen did come. I met Eddie Van Halen when I was over at Warner Brothers. He was. I don't remember which album it was. You know, it was whatever album they were working on in the probably late half of the '90s, and they were mastering it, and we were kind of hanging out in the pre-mastering room and pulling discs off the line and listening to them, and he wanted to hear them. So yeah, he was in there twice. So yeah, I think he was kind of the biggest slob in the world. I don't know. I think he was high on something because he was there actually 2 days in a row and was wearing the same clothes both days. Wow, 174 people. That's a record for me. I think that's a slow day for Jordan, but that's a good move. Do I understand Spanish? Just a few words. You know, dos tequilas. You know, mas cerveza. You know, just the important stuff. Yeah, I like to try and keep my videos, you know, family friendly. I know Jordan does that too. Why did I choose Waco? The truth is, I had pretty much selected Texas because I figured that was about as far away from California as I could get, and I didn't really want to live in the big city. I didn't want to live in Dallas or or Houston or around or any of those areas. I wanted to kind of be a little bit more out in the sticks. So really, literally, what I did is I just went on Google Maps and looked at satellite images and picked up cities that looked like they had big business districts. And then oh, 3 or 4 months ago, I guess, I actually flew out to Texas and just kind of drove around and looked at the cities. And I was looking at Longview, which is on the extreme east side of the state, almost right over the border from Louisiana. And I was looking at Waco. Of course, I'd heard of Waco, and Waco seemed like a nice place. And when I came and visited it, I just really liked this place, and this is where I wanted to be. So I don't know. We'll see. I was down in where was it today? It's like 30 miles east of here, or 30 miles south of here. I was picking up my pod, and I kind of liked that place too. That was, yeah, sorry, brain is frozen on that. Yeah, Longview was nice. I think in my case, the area I went was probably a little bit more expensive than what I was looking at. Waco seemed a little bit more uh, affordable, and that was really what I was looking at. One of the first things I did when I got into Waco is I literally just drove around looking for houses that were for sale, and I just went online and said, find me a house nearby here, and I went over there and looked at the house and looked at the prices, and you know, I I think I'm going to go afford this. So hi, Linda. Yeah, like I said before, I didn't even realize that I had the slippers on. A lot of times I wear slippers just when I'm around the house because they're more comfortable than shoes. And I didn't realize I had the slippers on until I was editing the video and I looked at that. It's like, oh man, and it's really too late to go recut it now. So whatever, everyone enjoyed it. So that's good. Maybe we'll do that intentionally in the future. San Antonio, another Texas person. Awesome. Kitties are adjusting. I was telling a funny story a little bit ago. I always had a problem with the cats crawling into the cabinets at home. It was so much of an issue that I actually had to put magnetic locks on the inside of the doors because they learned how to open up the doors with their paws. Well, apparently they figured out how to do that here too. I opened up one of the cabinets to get a Ziploc baggie out, and all of a sudden Nibble jumps out and goes darting upstairs. So yeah, pretty much. I mean, the only place I could think of that's more expensive than California is like New York, and I don't want to go there either. Bite and Nibble are doing good. They're up, kind of chilling upstairs right now. I'm sure it's nap time. A lot of people commented on the slippers, so that's cool. Nibble, I think, is more not necessarily really into boxes and drawers so much. She just wants some place where she can hide. And you know, back when the cats, were in their old house, um, what I had is they had their own room, and I had built a bunch of like shelves on the wall that were just for them, and basically they could get from the ground to like 2 feet from the ceiling. And Nibble just spent like 98% of her time up there because at that point that was her refuge. If she needed to go somewhere and get away from people, that was where she went. And so, have I ever lived anywhere else? I've been in California my whole life. Um, And my parents lived in Garden Grove, well, still live in Garden Grove, and I grew up there. Um, and I lived in Placentia for, I don't know, probably 30 years. Yeah, getting away from earthquakes, that was one of the many reasons I left California. Yeah, I'm sure Manhattan is nice to visit, but when you're dealing with like $1 million to get like some cheesy, apartment, it just isn't worth it. It isn't worth the trouble. It isn't worth the traffic. It isn't worth the noise. Thanks. I'm glad everyone loves the channel. It's the positive feedback that I get from you guys that makes me keep doing this. And we figured, I probably should come on here and give a lot of the new subscribers a chance to come in here and especially thank them, for subscribing and just completely blowing up my channel the other day. I can't believe that. I'm up pretty close to 2,300 subscribers now. And the truth is, when Jordan said, "Oh yeah, well, let me see if I can," I'm going to do a live stream. Let me see if I can push you over the top. I was like, "Yeah, that won't take long." And it didn't. I think 10 minutes later, I looked and I was like 1,040. And then when his live stream was over, it was at 1,300. An hour or so later, it was 1,500. I was kind of, Jordan kind of joked on his live stream that I said, wouldn't it be funny if we pushed him to 1,500? We were almost at 2,000 before I went to bed that night, and it was 2,000 the next morning. So that was just overwhelming. Fullerton, okay, yeah, that's just right next to me. That was bike riding distance. Well, it's obviously having an effect here. I see 184 people. I think my previous record was like 130 or something like that. So, did I ever meet any celebrities at Disneyland? Yeah, I met Mickey Mouse. Met a lot of them, but no real celebrities. I mean, I guess there's celebrities there all the time, but I've never actually met any of them directly. Jordan and I went and I got to meet Bob Gurr, which was one of the guys that developed a lot of the classic attractions at Disney. So I guess that would count as a celebrity, right? Yeah, I know. When I saw Breck needs help on that, I was like, oh man, he's totally clickbaiting that. People are gonna get the wrong idea, but whatever. And a lot of people did because I mean, people came in. What's wrong with Breck? Is Breck okay? Yeah, we're good. And I'm sure that's and I'm sure that's probably what part of the intention was with the way he named it is clickbaiting it just to make people clock in and see hey, what's going on, because I think he got a lot. He had like more than 500 people doing it. So that was like pretty close to a record for him. Yeah, there's a lot of weird rumors about Walt Disney being frozen. I don't believe any of it. Minnie Mouse. Yeah, I mean, their Minnie Mouse is just as nice in real life. Yeah, I would have to say so. What's my favorite vlog with Jordan? There's been a number of them I like because from time to time he'd let me like pick, things that we do. And so, there were a number of them that were my choices. The Miracle Mile one that he did a few months ago, I really enjoyed doing that one. I've always been a fan of Wayne's World, and so we've done a couple of Wayne's World locations, and those were fun. Um, let's see, I enjoyed going to the Winchester Mystery House. I've always wanted to do that, so that was really cool. I don't know who Dr. Hook is. Oh, Dr. Hook from Peter Pan, you mean? Well, yeah, we kind of kept the channel quiet initially because we didn't want to get attacked too much by the trolls, and it's already happening a little bit. I had to delete my first troll yesterday. Doctor Hook and Medicine Show. Now I don't know what that is. Oh, it sounds like my weather radio is going off or something. Maybe it's my phone. I don't know. I don't think there's any rain coming in, so who knows? Spawn Ranch was an amazing place to be, just because of what that place was. And you're right, that was another great one. I did enjoy that. Yeah, I think it might be that might be what the weather radio is saying. It might be an Amber Alert. That is one of the options that comes up on there. Will I go to the Branch Davidians? I don't know. I've heard that the Branch Davidians actually are still on the property, so they didn't get completely wiped out. So I don't know how much I'd be able to get in. Like, a lot of this, a lot of what I'm doing on this blog is just doing the whole moving away and getting all that stuff done. So I'm more of doing that than having Jordan, than copying Jordan completely. I know Jordan has made it very clear that I can do that, but I kind of want this to be my own thing. Yeah, I know. I'm having fun playing with my sense of humor a little bit. I don't get a chance to take that out, play with a. Yeah, that's true. I had a fan who sent me a T-shirt suggestion. That's something he'd whipped up on his computer that was really cool. I wish I actually had the image in front of me, but what it was is he had found a picture that I shot about a year ago when I went to Las Vegas with Jordan, and we met Lou Ferrigno in the bar that is right across from the Pawn Stars shop, and Lou Ferrigno was there, and I posed with a picture with him, and Jordan shot it, and I did the picture, and that was the picture I got, and this person grabbed that image and superimposed my head on a Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface character and had me chainsawing through one of the pods. I actually really like that one. We're going to maybe do some work with him. The guy actually wants to give me the image for free, and all right, thanks for that, Jordan. We'll deal with that now then. All gone. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of wow. Yeah, he's been polluting the timeline quite a bit. I'm not watching. I don't see every one of these because when I'm talking, I'm kind of thinking about that. So yeah, thank you, Jordan. If you see more of them, let me know. Oh, I'm glad you made the live stream. Yeah, we're gonna do these periodically. They're fun. You're in Finland. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I've been thinking what I need to do. I've been, like I said, I've been looking at a lot of the data of, who's watching and all that. Wow, 200 people watching right now. That's amazing. I've been kind of watching, on the analytics on YouTube, who's watching, and about 80% of my audience right now is either here in the United States or Canada. But there's significant clusters of people in Europe, and there's another significant cluster of people like in the Australia Asian time zone. So I've been thinking I might do some live streams that are probably at a more normal time for them, so they're not up in the middle of the night. It's a little late in Europe right now, because I think that's what 6 or 7 hours ahead. So it's like after midnight there. But I was thinking that maybe if I did like a live stream at like noon my time, then that would be like early evening in Europe. So I might do one of those at some point. We'll see. I don't want to isolate everyone else. I don't want to isolate people just because they're not in 4 time zones. Yeah, 140 in the UK. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's about right. So yeah, you guys are 6 hours ahead of me because it's 7:40 here p.m. the previous day. Thanks, I appreciate that. Jordan's always had my back. I think that's why we're good. We work good together because we kind of back each other up, and that's what good friends do, I guess. Am I retired? No, just temporarily unemployed right now. I do have to get back into the workforce now that I have my driver's license and birth certificate, or now that I have my social security card and birth certificate, I can get a driver's license and get going on that. So hopefully, I'm going to try and go get my driver's license tomorrow. Now that I have all the documentation for that, probably going to go get a haircut or something too because I'm getting a little shaggy up here. What little of it I have left. 3:40 in Finland. Yikes. Appreciate you staying up. Like I said, I'm going to try and do one earlier. Maybe this weekend, do one since you're 8 hours ahead of me. So if I were to do like one at like noon my time, then that would be like 8 o'clock in the evening your time. That would probably be cool, right? Yeah, no trolls. Yeah, we don't need any of that. Only positivity. Yeah, that's what a troll is. A troll is just someone who's trying to get in there and cause trouble. And you know, sometimes it's fun to engage with them and just really rag on them and insult them and see if you can drive them away. But other times, it's just better just to say, "Yeah, you're gone." Yeah, haven't seen any mice around here either, so that's a good thing too. Big problem I have is every time you open the door, the flies fly in. So my bug assault weapon is getting a lot of use. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just blocking. I'm not wasting any time. Not even going to just deleting individual comments. You do something stupid like that, and you're gone. Or if you're a known troll, and I don't have room for that. There's plenty out there. I don't need the 1 or 2 people out there who are jerks. Cleveland, Ohio had an earthquake today. How big was it? You don't usually get real big ones there because your earthquakes are more like because they're depleting like rainwater from the aquifers more than seismic. Because I don't think there's any earthquake faults in Ohio. They pretty much limit themselves to right down the middle of Southern California. What's my favorite thing to cook? Um, my family is from Minnesota, and I visit Minnesota a lot. So you can't be someone who's got roots in Minnesota if you don't like fish. And so I really like fish, and I'll barbecue fish all the time. I love salmon. I love Used to get really good walleye in Minnesota. Never really developed the taste for lutefisk. Not a huge fan of that. And I'm Swedish too. That's like sacrilege, but whatever. Yeah, maybe that maybe that's the case with California women, but that wasn't really my experience. People in California, so many of them are just, I didn't even realize it at the time, but a lot of them are jerks. And so that was one of the first thing I noticed when I came to Texas is how nice the people were. People just walk up to you off the street and say hi and start talking to you. Yeah, yeah. Minneapolis is in the same time zone. I know that because my uncle's just a little south of Minneapolis, in Bloomington, I think is the name of the town. There actually is a fault in Illinois. So I'll have to check that out. I have to go look at my earthquake tracker program. Yeah, actually, somebody commented on one of my videos a few days ago that they thought I was from Minnesota, and I didn't realize, I didn't know where that came from. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, yeah, somebody I'd mentioned Minnesota before, and I bet you the way I worded it made them think that I'm from Minnesota. I'm actually from California. I was born in Long Beach, but my parents were both from Minnesota and spent their entire lives there. And so and all of my family is there. So, have I bought a cowboy hat? No, I have looked at cowboy hats, but I have not bought one yet. I want to find one that I think works for me. Yeah, you're right. Californians are often about status, and that's just 4.2. That's actually a pretty decent earthquake. We get a, I mean, that's a light one by California's terms. You got to get into the sixes before it starts getting our attention. But my place in California was like 3 or 4 miles from the Elsinore Fault, which was a pretty good sized fault that kind of ran a big length of the state. So there have been a number of earthquakes that I felt there were like threes and fours that were like really really close to me. What brought about the move to Waco? Well, it was just kind of everything was kind of falling apart at the same time. I had been upset with California for a long time. I wasn't happy at Disney, and I just needed something different. And there was like one final straw that kind of broke the camel's back with Disney. And I remember I got home that night and my parents were out of town. They were actually in Minnesota visiting my mom's brother who lives down in Austin. And and I remember that night I got home and said, "Okay, that's it. I've made the decision. I'm going to fix up the house. I'm selling it. I'm moving because I'm done with California. I'm done with Disney." And it was all sorts of things that all just happened at once. So it was time. Yeah, I'm sorry about the flag. I got to do. I was really hoping that I'd find the iron today. I found the ironing board, but I didn't find the iron. We'll get that taken care of at some point because it bugs me too. It looks bad, but I don't have an iron right now, and I know it's in there somewhere because I know I have one. It's probably in the first pod because it was probably one of the first things to go. So yeah, the USGS oftentimes revises that kind of stuff after a quake, especially if it's something significant. If it's a 1 or 2 on the Richter scale, they don't usually pay that much attention to it. But usually, the USGS feed is all computer driven, so the magnitude is calculated by the computer, and then if it's a significant quake, oftentimes a real seismologist will come in and look at it, and at that point they revise it. And sometimes they get new data as time goes on too that more precisely predicts where it was, and once they predict where it was, they can they can, sometimes revise what the actual magnitude was at the epicenter. Actually, yeah, it could almost no, it almost could be painted bricks that flag in the back, but no, no, it's just it came out of a bag that way, and like I said, I don't have an iron yet, so we'll get that fixed. Yeah, yeah, that 2001 earthquake in Japan, that was the one that caused the Fukushima nuclear reactor to melt, right? That was bad. No, no, not painted bricks. It's just a flag with a lot of flag that needs to be ironed. I'll just maybe hold it like that. What do you think? Yeah, somebody's calling me right now. It's probably a telemarketer. They can wait. Yeah, I heard about that crane collapse. I got like five or six warnings from my I got like five or six warnings from my weather radio about that last night. It was really windy here, but we didn't actually get that much rain. So in fact, it didn't even rain enough to get the ground wet. I have a like a rain gauge, and I put it out, but it didn't measure anything. Yeah, I have an app on my phone that does that too. It's probably the same one. You can you can set up a particular alerts, and so when I was in California, I had two alerts defined. One that any earthquake that was close to me within there was like a 3.0 or larger I wanted to hear about, and then any earthquake 6.0 or larger anywhere in the world I heard about that. So it kept you alert to that kind of stuff. I was usually the first one to know what the earthquake magnitude was when it happened. Yeah, that was one of the yeah. A lot of people lost limbs in the trees. That was one of the things that the weather radio said is that might be one of the consequences. Is there might be severe damage to trees and stuff like that. Yeah, I got some tornadoes too. I heard that's. Yeah, I don't know if hanging this out in the sun because I think it's nylon. So I'm really gonna have to, I think, just iron it. But I'm gonna have, I'm hopefully gonna have the all of the pods unloaded hopefully in the next week or so. Yeah, I like the koi pond too, but the new owner didn't want it, and it was fun to have, but it was a lot of work too. So I understand them, and my understanding is it was a family with young kids, so it was probably a safety issue. The realtor was a little concerned about that when when we first started selling it, just because I'd been working on the house on so many other parts of the house that I didn't have time to take care of the pond, and so the pond was really starting to be really kind of gross looking. So it was really time to right before the house went on sale, I actually did a full clean, full refurbishing of the pond, drained all the water, took all the fish out, repainted everything, and so whatever. Yeah, I know nylon will melt, but if you keep the heat low on the iron, it should be all right. Yeah, yeah, there's 5.0 earthquakes all over the world. That was why I set it at six. You do six, and then you're only hearing about the big events. Yeah, very low setting on the iron. Yeah, maybe we'll do that as well. Yeah, a lot of you came by because of Jordan. Appreciate that. That's actually why I'm doing this is to thank all of you for for subscribing and watching. I'm totally blown away by all the support I'm getting and how quick it was that Jordan was able to push me over the 1,000 point mark. I was like 18 away from it, so it would have happened probably on its own in the next couple of days. But best concert I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of really great shows, but in terms of the greatest stage show, it was the Kiss show that I attended with you. That was I'd never seen Kiss before. Wasn't really that into the music, but it was such an amazing stage show. It was just so many things going on. And I think probably the most fun I ever had at a concert was the electrifying conclusion show for Guided by Voices back in, I don't know, what was that, 2004, 2005? There was a big video on it, and I was right in the front row, so I'm all over that video. So that was really kind of cool. Yes, there's still going to be a vlog coming up. It's almost 10. It's almost 8 o'clock here. I post my vlogs at 8. It's already scheduled to go on, so it'll be on in about 5 minutes. Oysters, lobster, fish, and shrimp. I love all of the above. Yeah, 2000. I mean, I would have been happy if we hit 1,001. So, when it hit 2,000 and it keeps going, now it's like, I think it's almost 2,300. It was almost there before I started that. Yeah, I'm glad to be doing this too. I'm having a lot of fun doing these, and it's one of these things that sometimes at the beginning you kind of wake up. It's like, okay, what am I going to do today? I don't really know what I'm going to do, and the stuff I do have to do. It's like nobody's going to want to watch that, but I guess people are interested in that. Jordan was saying he thinks that a lot of people, know me as the guy that stood behind Jordan in all of his videos, and so he says they're kind of enjoying learning about me now. So that's kind of cool. I'm glad that you're interested in me and that you're coming and watching these. And like I said, I'm still blown away on how fast this has grown. Does Jordan think I need new glasses? I don't know. You could ask him. I have to wear these when I'm reading because I'm absolutely blind. Thanks. I'm glad you like the channel, Max. Yeah, a lot of people talk about how I'm kind of mellow and kind of low key and all that. Uh, the truth is, it took a long time for me to kind of play the straight man, for if you will, because in the early on, you know, the worst thing you can do is laugh at your own jokes, and I used to laugh at my own jokes. So playing it really dry, it took a long time to get there, but I don't know. I think I'm figuring that out. Yeah, I do miss Jaw, and the truth is, and Jordan said this too, that what, after Jaw, you're going to have to get your own dog, and he's right. I'm probably going to get a dog at some point. I'll have to wait until I move out because I'm a big dog kind of person, and I can't have anything bigger than 25 pounds here. The cats were almost too big because they're so big and fat. Yeah, once I pull the iron out of the pot, I definitely want to clean that or flatten that out. Yeah, pugs are cute, but like I said, I want a big dog. Definitely a rescue dog. I, the dogs I've had in my life have all been rescues. Bite and Nibble are, well, essentially rescues. The cat I had before Bite was also a rescue. So, yeah, I've done that, and they're the greatest pets. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know what kind of a dog. Golden Retriever. I had a Golden Retriever when I was a kid, and he was a great dog. Most mellow dog you ever had. And then I had the first dog I ever had was a Collie Shepherd mix, and she was a beautiful dog. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jordan remembers Cat. I had a cat whose name was Cat, and I thought it was clever. It was actually a Beavis and Butthead joke, uh, or sort of a reference to a Beavis and Butthead joke. In that particular episode, Butthead was fascinated because he was talking to this girl, and he found out her name was Chick, and he was just so blown away that she was Chick and that her name was Chick. So that kind of inspired me to name my cat Cat. I got Cat when he was about 16 weeks old. He was at the pound. Sweet little cat. He was my buddy. Yeah, yeah. It's 8:01 now, so the new vlog should be up. So we're at 2:06 right now. That's kind of cool. No, I don't have any family in Waco. All of my family, my parents are still in California. My sister lives up in Sacramento area with her husband and kids, and the rest of my extended family is in Minnesota for the most part. Although I do have some family in San Diego and in different areas around California as well. Yeah, my Collie Shepherd mix. That was the only dog that we ever got, and it was friends that had bred the dog. So they had puppies, and we adopted one of them, and she was a good dog. But a few years later, a stray just literally wandered into and took residence in our on our front porch, and we called the pound to have him picked up, and they couldn't figure out who he was, and we kept an eye on him. We put a hold on him, and they would give him 3 days, and if for the owner to come back, and then they go up for adoption, and we adopted him, and he was a good boy. It was funny actually when I was unloading one of the pods. I actually found a picture of my first two dogs. It was all washed out and all that, but that's around here somewhere. I don't know where exactly right now. I like to drink beer from time to time. I don't really do a lot of hard stuff, but I like a beer. Have I hung out with Chip and Joanna? No, but I would like to meet them. That would be kind of fun. That'd be cool to get maybe a job working with them, but who knows? Yeah, I always loved Beavis and Butthead. Beavis and Butthead were great. I haven't really looked that much for jobs because I didn't want to do anything until I'm actually in a position where I can take one. And like I said, now I have all the documentation I need to get a job. So that's going to probably go pretty much to the top of the list right now, because basically, except for trying to separate myself from pods, everything else, can be saved for the evenings or weekends and stuff like that. So, what was the last time I had a dog? It's been a long time. I had a black lab uh, up until about the point where I moved out of my parents' house, and that was like 30 years ago. So, I haven't had a dog since then. The first cat I got was actually belonged to some friends of mine uh, that moved to Hawaii, and they couldn't take their cat with them, and so I adopted that. Maybe Mick was, or it wasn't Mick, it was Johnny Cat. Yeah, they named the poor cat after the litter bag. So whatever. And Johnny Cat was old. Johnny was like 10 and only lasted a couple of years, but she had a good home for the rest of her life. All right, Venus Joe, I'm glad you stopped in. Thanks a lot. See you next time. What kind of dog do I think I would enjoy? You know, I have to admit I have more of an attachment to smaller dogs now after meeting Jaw and seeing his big dog personality, but I'm still a fan of a big dog. So, I would probably get a Labrador Retriever or a German Shepherd or uh, whatever. I've always liked Rottweilers too. They're beautiful dogs. They have kind of a bad rap, but they're really loyal, really friendly dogs. No, I've never been in Club 33. That's how exclusive it is. They don't even let the employees in. Yeah, Jaw is Mr. Personality. Definitely, no doubt about that. Hi, Jay. What was my favorite ride at Disneyland? Um, I liked the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. I wasn't as much of a fan when they updated it to Guardians of the Galaxy. I liked the uh, California Screaming roller coaster, which they recently rebranded to the Incredicoaster for the Incredibles. Um, and then there were a couple of rides that the Maliboomer, I used to really like that one. They took that one out, which was stupid. They took out a really great ride and replaced it with a smoking section. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Thanks, Jordan. You're a moderator. I assume that means you can go in and go hunting trolls for me, right? Yeah, well, he's a moderator now, so that's cool. Yeah, I'm sure that's what that means is that he can go in and be the troll killer now. So that's cool. A moderator, basically, I've given him control to certain control. He basically can delete comments and block people for me. And since that makes sense to do that. If he's here and he's willing to, um, if I'm if he's willing to do that, he knows who the trolls are. He knows the trolls he's had to deal with. So, what, he can just kill them for me, and that's great. Siberian Huskies are beautiful dogs too. Yeah, I've had neighbors that had those amazing eyes. See, I can see Jordan's already doing his earning his pay here. Worth every penny I pay him. Basically, I'll start looking for houses, I think, once I'm confident that I found a job that I like and sure that I want to stay there and then I can start looking for a house. The beauty is I made a lot. I got a lot of equity off of my house when I sold it in California because I lived there for 22 years. So I had 22 years of equity built up. So I think it's going to be really easy. I'm going to be a great buyer because I'm going to have cash. I took a big chunk of the money. In fact, I set up a online savings account using Ally Bank, and they have like really good interest rates. And so I'm parking a large chunk of my money uh, with them just to earn some interest on that. And of course, I'm going to take a massive tax hit this year too. I'm going to have to deal with. So hopefully, there'll be a little bit left over. After I pay my taxes, after I pay Uncle Gavin here for the honor of leaving his state. The housing market is great. The houses when I was here like 4 or 5 months ago. I was looking at houses and I was seeing houses in the 200 to $250,000 range. And that's insane, for me. And they're nice houses too. The ones that I was looking at were right on Waco Lake, and so I'm confident that if I went a little bit further away from Waco Lake, I could probably get more property for less money, and that's really what I want to see. I want to see, my ideal house would be, roughly the same size as the house I had before, but I'd love to have a big chunk of property, an acre or more. My mom laughs at me when I say that, but I would just, that was one always, I had in my house in California, I had one of the biggest houses in the block, but, or one of the biggest backyards in the block. But, I was still running out of room back there. My mom would bring a plant over or something like that, and I wouldn't know where to put it. I actually like having Jordan as a moderator now because now his name comes up in blue. So I see him and he can't slip past me there anymore. Yeah, and that's another reason that get a big dog. You'll need a lot of room for him. So hey, it's win-win. Two things that I like: big dogs and big property. They're compatible with each other. How could you complain, huh? Wow, Gene, some people are just horrible. Can't but I don't know how I don't know if how many of you remember the story of how I found Bite and Nibble, but that was kind of a sad story too. Somebody, I think, threw them into my backyard when they were babies. I just found them because my backyard was locked, so it wasn't like they, you know, somehow got into the yard on their own. The only thing I could figure out, because they were like 5 weeks old, they were just really babies, and I couldn't figure out how I originally suspected that maybe they'd escaped their litter, but that seemed less likely as time went by, and all I could figure is that they were thrown into my backyard, and that was sad because I just one day. Yeah, I was actually coming home from taking my mom out to dinner for her birthday. And as we were coming in the gate, I thought I saw something out of the corner of my eye, but I was focused on other things, so I just kind of forgot about it. But the next day, I was out in the backyard, and Bite was up on the planter, just kind of chilling out. I guess probably looking for food or something like that. And I don't know what they were eating. They were probably just having to eat bugs or something like that. All right, another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Yeah, they're coming out in droves now. But see, that's now you understand. Some people were questioning on one of my comments the other day, on one of my videos the other day, that they were wondering why Jordan wasn't promoting my site earlier. And I went through this whole thing. I explained to him. We talked about this early on. He was concerned about trolls, and one particular troll specifically, who he said was going to, who he thought could like call my boss now that he knew it worked at Disney and try and get me fired. So we decided early on that Jordan was going to kind of give me background support, and and everything that's happened so far has been because of him. Yeah, he said the first guy we blocked had 40 plus accounts. And see, that's what these guys do. They know that people lose patience with them, and they cancel their, they set up 40 different accounts, and you block one of them, they just move on to the next one. These guys are pathetic losers. That's all there is to it. And I don't mind saying that. You're a pathetic loser, whoever you are. Yeah, I don't know what the tax thing is on that, but like I said, I'm coming from California, and I can't imagine California would allow someone to get $250,000 and not have their hand out saying, "Give me some." So I don't know. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, is an accountant or an investment broker for Edward Jones, and he's been giving me a lot of advice on how to deal with this. And he's going to hook me up with somebody here in Waco who will help me deal with that. But like I said, I've parked a large chunk of the profits I've received from the house in an online savings account, and I'm going to get like I think 2.2% on that. So that's kind of cool. Earn a little bit of interest on that, and who knows? We'll see what happens in 6 months or a year or whenever when I'm ready to do. Yeah, it was probably a good move to make Jordan a moderator for a couple of reasons. First off, I do like to comment on when he says something, and because he knows the questions to ask, uh, and oftentimes he'll have he'll set me up for something funny, and we'll go with that. And so now that he's a moderator, he comes up on the screen in blue, so it's harder to miss him. Sometimes when I'm talking, I'm looking at the screen and I'm not paying attention to what's being coming up over here. So if he sticks out a little bit more, that helps. Yeah, my kitties are great. I love them both. Like I said, I wish Nibble was a little bit more affectionate, but she is a sweet little kitty. She's just really, really afraid. Yeah, I might have to try and top that. You're right. I don't know if I haven't been to a fireworks stand here, but we're getting close to the 4th of July, and yeah, fireworks are totally legal here. The fireworks factories are only open like the 10 days before New Year's and the 10 days before 4th of July, but you can get the good stuff. Even stuff that used to be good stuff in California is illegal now. They used to have these little things that they're about the size of your thumb called ground bloom flowers, and you'd light them and they'd go, spin around in circles and really cool. And they just made those illegal. I don't know. Of course, I guess I can understand. I had an experience with one of those once. Somebody lit one, and I don't know exactly how it happened, but this one didn't spin. It just literally took off like a rocket. I've never seen that happen. So I guess that would be a problem if you had like a wood thatched roof or something like that, and that thing landed on the roof. So yeah, Jordan was in Alabama recently. I spent the summer in Alabama when I was working at DMI, back in the probably the early 90s. And I remember, yeah, the fireworks stands were open all the time there. Yeah, yeah. I'm talking to the guy who's doing it, and I'm making, and he told me, he'd love to see me just, have the shirt and make it and all that, and I'm going back and saying, if we're going to do something, I want to have, I want to make sure that, you make something too, just you get a little something out of it too, just because I don't want there to be any complications in the future. Sometimes people's opinion on a subject like that differs at the beginning when they think, oh, yeah, it'd be really cool to see him making, uh, making my shirts. But then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of money is coming in, and and then everything kind of changes. So that's cool. I'm glad. Yeah, I really like the Road to Texas shirt. That was a great the road trip shirt. That was a great one. I've always been kind of flattered that I got to be on a couple of those shirts. That was a lot of fun. I know. I remember when Jordan first talked about the first one, which was that kind of Jetsons themed one. And he asked, would you like to have a T-shirt made? And I said, well, I'd have to see the image first, but I'm open to the idea. And he sent me that image, and I said, oh wow, that's great. Yeah, that's a great shirt. You should do that one. And now there's been another one. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. 213 people. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I ought to see if this guy will do something for you too, Jordan. Yeah, it was maybe a brave decision. It was really a decision that had to be made. I couldn't afford to live in California anymore. The job at Disney just wasn't going where I wanted it to go. And so, yeah, it was, like I said, it was just a whole bunch of things that all happened there at once. Yeah, 213, 215 now. That's amazing. That's more than I've had. Thanks. I'm glad you like the videos. I like making them, so we'll keep doing this for a while. Maybe in August, Jordan will just hop in the car and start driving. I hope he drives here. That'd be cool. You bring the Joster along. At least my apartment's not empty anymore, Jordan. Yeah, yeah. I'm used to the heat from California because it gets really hot there too. It's a little bit more humid here, but you know what? I think I'll accommodate. I think I'll adapt. What I want to do though is try and find an indoor job this time. I worked outside with Disney. The job before that, I had kind of a warehouse job, and that was kind of hot too. I think I'm kind of to a stage in my life where I want to be in air conditioning during the day. Yeah, for those of you who turned in and are talking about T-shirts, I had one of my viewers sent me an image last night that he had made. He basically found an image, a picture of me doing this, and he cut my head off, dropped it on Leatherface's body from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and uh, had me chainsawing a pod in half. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, I was wondering what that was all about. Thanks, Jordan. Another troll bites the dust. I was wondering if maybe she was just stuttering or something like that. Who knows? It was actually a good day to move the pods today because it was actually a little cooler today. That storm that supposedly was going to blow in last night um, didn't really do anything, but it did cool off did cool off the temperature. It was only about 80 here today, so I still sweat like a pig, but it was like 96 yesterday, so that was a vast improvement. Yeah, that was probably a good move to let Jordan be a moderator on this. I kept seeing him. He kept posting, "Let me be a moderator. Let me be a moderator," like 3 or 4 times, and I didn't realize that you could assign a moderator on this. I thought, he was suggesting I start like a Facebook page and make him a moderator on that, like I'm an admin on his. But so but then he said, no, just click on my picture and add as moderator. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, oh, there it is. All right. Jordan's a moderator. Perfect. Can't think of someone better. I got that. It was actually John and Ken from KFI were, I guess, John. I think no, it was Ken. Ken was part owner of like a B League baseball team or something like that. And we went and saw Jordan and I went and saw the team play. That was when Jordan was a lot more into baseball than he is now. He was going. He had season tickets to the Dodgers, and we go to Angels games. Actually, I don't know. Did he? Did we? I don't think we went to Angels games, but we ended up going to see uh, the minor league team, and John and Ken were broadcasting live, so they were giving away free T-shirts. So that's where that shirt came from. Yeah, I like horror movies too. Not necessarily Hellraiser in that, but Orange County Flyers. Yeah, thanks, Jordan. But I like ghost stories, and I was always a huge Freddy Krueger fan. Halloween, Friday the 13th. Those were great. My T-shirt guy apparently is on here. Did I miss a comment from him? Yeah, I love the T-shirt. That was a great shirt. Jordan even said he'd wear one of those, so that's cool. Hello, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. I'm doing this today mainly because I wanted to thank all the new subscribers who stopped in and just really blew my subscriber number through the stratosphere the other day. I still can't believe that, and I'm still clocking in periodically, looking at that, and surprised how many people are watching it. And I mean, a lot of times you think people would maybe subscribe just because Jordan said, hey, you got to subscribe. And they go over and they look at it and they say, yeah, this isn't really what I'm into. And then they unsubscribe. But I haven't really seen a lot of that. If people are subscribing and then unsubscribing, they're being replaced by people who are subscribing and not unsubscribing uh, faster than I, so I don't even notice them, but it's really funny because when YouTube has an analytics section for people who have channels like mine, and what they'll do is they'll give you a lot of great information about what's happening on your channel, who's watching. Um, and it kind of compares like month to month and stuff like that. And it's funny because I keep looking at like my subscriber numbers and my total viewed hours and all that. And in addition to the current numbers that they give you on the page, they also say what kind of a percentage increase you have. And right now, all of the main categories have a 999% increase. And I think it's probably way beyond that. It's just they only allocate 3 digits, so you can't go to 1,000. So if it's above 1,000, it just locks at 999. So yeah, there's just been fantastic growth in the site in the last month, but specifically in the last 3 days. Yeah, I haven't looked at the YouTube channel since I started broadcasting. I have just this screen in front of me right now. Thanks, Janet. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I'm humbled beyond belief that you guys keep watching this, and I'm so thankful that you do. You guys are all great. Yeah, I mean, so many people of the pods are great. The guy I was talking to today, very nice guy. I don't have any problem with the people. It's just sometimes the management team just doesn't care. And I was so disappointed that they just really didn't even want to do anything about it. They made kind of an insult, they kind of made an insult offer in terms of, uh, compensating me for the fact that I basically had to live in an empty house for 12 days because they screwed up. Yeah, I can't do super chat yet until I have monetized the site. Now I've applied to do that, but it takes about a month to get approved, and I just did that yesterday. So, hopefully maybe by the end of the month or so, I'll be able to start doing super chat. I didn't, I didn't get a U-Haul initially because I knew from the beginning it was going to be more than one U-Haul. And I didn't really want to be driving cross country with a truck. It was, at the time, even then, I was thinking, Jordan was going to come with me. And, that just wouldn't have been fun driving in a truck. And I would have had to like do 3 or 4 trips. It was a lot easier, I thought, to get the pods because they deliver the pod in your front yard. You fill it up, they come pick it up, they move it to wherever you're going, they bring it to your new house, drop it off. It's a great idea. Additionally, another reason kind of why I stayed away from U-Haul is that so many people are moving out of California right now that it becomes expensive to do that because if you're like me and you're moving from California to Texas, and a lot of people are doing that, then all of a sudden U-Haul has way too many trucks in Texas and not enough trucks in California. And so what they have to do is they have to start paying somebody to drive them back. And that just makes it a lot more expensive because now you got to pay for the person to do it and to pay for the mileage and all that. So it just seemed that the pod was the way to go. And I mean, I think they got a great business plan. They just got to get some people to care. Like I said, most of the people I've dealt with, the people that I've dealt with directly, the guys that have dropped off or picked up the pods, they've been the nicest people in the world. The guy who brought the third pod actually allowed me to videotape him doing that. That turned into a vlog. So they're great people there, and I think it's a great business plan. They just got to deal with people, deal with the people that don't care. And unfortunately, they got a few of those. In terms of going to Disneyland again, I don't know. I Because I'd been there for 10 and a half, almost 11 years, um, I really burned myself out on it. The first summer I got that pass that allows me to sign myself in, I'd go to Disneyland like 3 or 4 nights a week. And, that first summer I just burned myself out on it. And I rarely went after that. Jordan went, I think, probably about as much as I did. And that was the reason, that was really the only reason I went is because he went, because he wanted to go. Beyond that, it was like my sister and her kids and that was really about it. And so, I was given what 18 passes a year, where 18 opportunities a year where I could sign in three people at a time. So that was like what 50, 54 people or something like that I could sign in a year. I don't think in the entire time I worked there that I ever once used up all my passes. It just, I burned myself out on it so early and just didn't really want to do it after that. So, it wasn't really fun to go in and do it unless I was going with somebody else. Yeah, I think it's kind of the same with like the annual passes too. I know there's some people that really, really, really love Disney and they'll go all the time, but I don't know. I guess probably what the issue is. A lot of people look at Disney as kind of a magical place, and I don't think I ever looked at it as a magical place. When I remember going as a kid, and I was always trying to figure out how they did that. When I watched the parades when I was a kid, I was always trying to figure out, okay, where's the driver in there? And I could usually figure it out because what ends up happening is they want to hide the driver, but they usually have this like mesh screen in front of the driver with like thousands of little holes in it. So it's dark in there, so you really can't see them inside, but the driver can see out. And so I was really figuring, I was in those days figuring out where are they, and I had a pretty good idea where they were, where they all were. And I can look at a float now and tell where the driver is, just because you know even if it's a float I've never seen before, just because I know how they work now. And you know, it was a fun job. If I could have made a living out of it, I would have been happy there. I didn't hate the people. I didn't hate the job I did. I just didn't like the way management treated people. So, do Disney employees stand in line? What, for like rides and stuff like that? No, not usually. There are a lot of cool friends benefits that come from Disney, though. You get among other things, you get like cast previews. In the weeks before Star Wars Land opened, there was cast previews where if you worked there, you could sign up and go in and look at Star Wars Land before anyone else did. And I got to do a bunch of those. Those were fun. I got to one time actually do a walkthrough of the Radiator Springs Racers ride in Cars Land. I actually walked the entire track. That was fun. Um, I got to go through Tower of Terror when it still was Tower of Terror. Got to ride Tower of Terror with the lights on. That was kind of fun. And one of the things I discovered when I rode that, I always thought that when they drop you, they just literally drop you, but they don't drop you. They push you down. So you're not just hitting zero G's, you're hitting negative G's. I found that out because for the first time I was actually able to ride the ride with my backpack sitting next to me. And I noticed when they dropped us the first time, my backpack actually lifted off the seat. That's why they make you wear the seatbelts in there, I think, because they don't want people hitting the roof. Yeah, I don't know. I got to talk to an investment person and figure out what to do about the capital gains, because I've gotten different answers from different people based on who I talk to. So, like I said, I need to find somebody that knows California tax law and can tell me specifically, uh, what to do about that and how much I need to prepare. I was told to expect that I'm going to have to fork over about 50 grand. So now, well, that happens. It sucks, but that's the way it is. Uncle Gavin has a bunch of stupid people he needs to pay for. So Waco is really nice. It's hot and humid here, but a lot of the country is that way. I can deal with it. 222 people. That's pretty amazing. That's interesting. I didn't know that about Canada and them exempting your primary residence. I wish California did that. Maybe they do. Like I said, I don't know enough about it. Maybe I should have talked to Jordan's friend Michael and had him help me with that. I bet you he'd know the ins and outs of that. Uh, but I'm going to have to talk to somebody that knows because taxes, you know what? I don't know anything about that. I can do plumbing, I can fix electrical, I can do drywall patches, I can paint, but when it comes to finances, I'm completely ignorant and I'm willing to let the people who know do it. And I bet you Michael would have done it too, wouldn't he, Jordan? Because I remember when you went over to have him do your taxes this year, I went over with you, and that was, I think, the first time I saw his place. And after you got done doing yours, he turned to me and said, "So you want me to do yours too?" And it's like, I wish I had brought my stuff. I didn't have it with me, but he knows his stuff. Michael's very very smart guy. Well, you can move to California if you want. It's just be prepared to get taxed to death because that's what happens. If you're independently wealthy, that's great. But if you do anything trying to make any money, you know California's going to be there with their hand out, and they want most of it. Yeah, Michael is a genius, and he is a great guy. I mean, I've known Michael for a long time too. He's an amazing guy, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. They're starting to get a little sore. One of the problems of being an introvert is that you don't speak that much, so when you do talk a lot, your voice gets hoarse. Yeah, it depends on where it is you live because certain cities throw taxes on top of you know the state and federal taxes. It gets really bad at times. LA County is really bad. San Francisco County is really bad. No, I keep finding the grapefruit juice. I love it. I hope that's something that they continue having. I don't know what happened, but everyone in California just discontinued it all about the same time. And I kept going from one company, one brand to another, to another, to another. And finally I had to give up because it wasn't there anymore. I couldn't find it. All of the brands were gone. Yeah, HEB has been a great store. I like them a lot. Uh, in California, we had something called Sprouts. And I think they're here too. And I always my mom always would get me like a Sprouts gift card. And I loved that because it was like a mile from my place and it was like a farmer's market. So it always had, fresh stuff and, that was grown locally and stuff like that. And I would, if I need like, felt like a veggie or something like that, my mom would get me $100 gift card and it would last me for a year because I'd only use it like $2 or $3 at a time. Because I'd go out and buy a couple of ears of corn or go out and buy some fresh spinach or broccoli or cauliflower or whatever it was I was in the mood for. Their fruit and vegetable section was really first rate. And what I like about HEB is it seems to be like my normal shopping at Ralph's. I used to do my shopping at Ralph's, and it was like Ralph's and Sprouts all kind of mashed together in one store. This place, the one near me, isn't even the biggest one in the area, but it has an amazing produce section. Puts my Ralph's to shame. So I like them, and yeah, really, really becoming a fan of them. I'll definitely shop to them with them, and it's great because they're close too. Yeah, the HEB that I'm going to is literally walking distance from me. I don't really walk there because it's too much to haul your groceries back on foot. But I could literally walk there, and in fact, I did once. Yeah, somebody else was talking about an earthquake in Ohio, so I'll have to look that up when I get off the live stream. Old timers reunion, awesome. Well, that is one of the things I did. I'll admit that I did when I decided where I was going. Is in addition to looking at Google Maps to figure out where the where the business areas were, I also superimposed a voting map over it just to see where the blue parts are because I knew I didn't want to be there. And so, yeah, Austin and Dallas Fort Worth were removed from the list early on. Like I said, there was a lot of reasons I came to Texas, but Texas was, I just thought I wanted something as much different from California as I could. And Texas is about as far away from California as you can get. And I really like it here so far. Like I said, the people are so much nicer. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of curious about this earthquake in Texas, in Ohio too. Yeah, I've been to Trader Joe's too. I know Jordan goes there a lot. I'm not as much a fan of that. It's just it tends to be their selection doesn't tend to be as good as what I like to see. Their produce section isn't really what I'd like to see, and a lot of stuff is really expensive. So I don't know. I've been there a few times. I bought stuff there, but there was never really one that close to me anyway. So I always just stuck with Ralph's and Sprouts and Costco too. That's another thing that my mom would get me is a Costco card. She'd get me a big giant one, and I'd go and she'd give me a $500 gift card from Costco, and I'd go and buy $500 of meat, put it in the freezer, and I'd eat for a year. I don't know the name of any of the faults in this part of the country. I'm pretty good with California faults because I've lived with them my whole life, but I wasn't really aware that they had a whole bunch of faults. Like I said, I always thought most of the earthquakes that happened kind of in the Midwest here were more related to uh, oil or water extraction from the ground. Sorry, I didn't mean to burp at you there. Just call me Jaw if you want. I've heard of the New Madrid fault. Is that in Ohio? Like I said, I'll have to pull up my USGS map when I get done with this. Yeah, even if we do get occasional earthquakes here, we're not waiting for the big one like we are in California. So, you know, that was like I said, I was tired of earthquakes. I don't like the idea of a million cubic miles of rock just suddenly moving. That scares me. And yeah, okay, fine. They have tornadoes and hurricanes and stuff like that, uh, but it's you have warning when those are coming. Earthquake, there's no warning. Yeah, you're right. Texas is on top of the North American plate, but it's in the middle of the North American plate because the North American plate goes, all the way down through South America and goes all the way out to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So, it isn't being on the plate. I mean, technically, every place on the Earth is on a plate somewhere. The problem is when you're in proximity to the fault lines where you got two plates rubbing against each other. That's when you get the earthquakes. Traffic is there's no comparison here to LA traffic. The only time you run into traffic really the worst thing that happens is that truck drivers are kind of jerks around here. I think they think they own the road, because what'll end up happening is a lot of places here there's just 2 lane highways, and and what'll happen is the trucks will kind of stay in the slow lane, but then you'll get one truck that's behind another truck, and the second truck wants to go 1 mile an hour faster than the truck that's in front of them, and so they'll be doing 55 and you'll be in the fast lane doing 75, and all of a sudden the truck will pull in front of you. You have to jump on the brakes to avoid hitting them. I've seen a lot of that. I don't know what it is, but the truck drivers seem to be kind of jerks around here. Probably because they think they can get away with it. In California, you get shot if you do that. Like Google, yeah, maybe on certain subjects, if it's something I like, and geology is something I've always uh, been into. Yeah, I mean, I used to look at we did get a lot of earthquakes in California. Most of them, I mean, you look at if you pull up the USGS earthquake map, there's usually 500 or 600 earthquakes registered in California every week. And but most of them are under 2.0 on the Richter scale, so nobody feels those. Occasionally you get a 3 or a 4, and if you're close to those, you'll feel those. And then when you get fives and above, you don't have to be close to get those. Northridge was what was Northridge like? It was like a 6.3 or something like that. And I was 50 miles away from that, and that one shook me out of bed. And I remember when Sylmar happened in Whittier Narrows. I was at work at DMI in Whittier Narrows. I was in the clean room when that one happened, and I was in there with a couple of friends of mine. And at first, we felt something. We weren't sure what was going on. It was probably just like a little force shock or something, maybe the P wave or something. And the three of us all kind of looked at each other, and all of a sudden the shaking started going on, and my supervisor got just an alarmed look in his eyes and just started running for the door. And I said, okay, well, if he's running, I'm running too. And as we're running, we ran through another room that had this big 6 foot tall rack mount thing that probably weighed half a ton. And before that, I wasn't really scared, but when I ran past that thing, that rack mount thing was bouncing off the ground, and it was getting like 2 or 3 inches off the ground. And at that point, I got scared, and so that was when I started running too. Yeah, there's so many active faults because I mean, there's just around where I am. There's 3 significant faults that are an issue. You got, of course, San Andreas, which is about 50 miles away, and that's the main plate junction between the Pacific plate and the North American plate. And so that's where the big one's going to happen. That's the one that caused the Loma Prieta quake in San Francisco. That was the one that stopped the World Series that one year. And that was along the San Andreas fault. San Andreas is going to be very interesting when that happens. And it's way overdue for that. But you also have the Elsinore fault. That was like 5 miles from me. And you have the Newport Inglewood fault. Those are all major faults that could, produce a 6 or a 7 earthquake in California or above. I mean, San Andreas could go into the eights. Pit bulls are great dogs too. They got a bad rap, but they're the most loyal dog you'll ever have. You know, the problem is a lot of people who raise them are jerks, and if the owner's a jerk, the dog's going to be a jerk. And the pit bull, if you get a pit bull that's a pit bull that's a jerk can be a real dangerous animal. So, but if you raise them right, and take care of them, show them how to, be good with people and deal with kids, they'll be the most loyal dog you'll ever see. I don't think the cats are in shock anymore. They were freaked out about what was happening, especially in the couple days when we moved. Wow, kids are having some fun out there. That's cool. Making a lot of noise. I don't know if you're hearing all that, but there's like 5 or 6 kids out there screaming right now. Yeah, well, that's it. With the pit bulls, a lot of a lot of people have this thug mentality, and thugs want to have a dog that's a thug. And unfortunately, pit bulls have that reputation. And especially when you get one that they've trained to fight. I have had birds. I've had lots and lots and lots of birds. When I was like in junior high school, a friend of mine, coincidentally, whose name was Jordan, had an aviary in his backyard, and he got me really into birds. And so, in I think like 1978, for my birthday, my dad built me an aviary, and I had parakeets and finches. And then a few years later, I built another aviary. I had a pigeon coop in that one. So yeah, I've literally had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of birds. I had a parrot at one point that talked. He was just he wasn't like a macaw or any of the large expensive birds. He was just a conure, but he was he was a really great bird. He talked a little bit, was very friendly, very sociable, uh, and yeah, he died. I miss him. Taco was a great pet. Yeah, that's right. I called him Taco. Well, actually, that was his name when I got him. So, and since he knew how to say his name, it would have been weird to change it. Well, there aren't really this whole building is almost like a compound because the buildings kind of go around the outside, and then there's like a big quad area in the middle, and the kids are in this quad area in the middle, and it's pretty well lit up. They got like mercury vapor lights that light up the whole area in here, so it's well lit, and it's safe. There's no cars around here. I haven't seen any blue bonnets yet, but I did on one of my vlogs on the Texas trip. There was, I remember noting how many wildflowers and just they were just everywhere. It just blew me away, just for miles and miles and miles. In fact, I even stopped at one point and walked around them. I think that was the day we did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre graveyard. Never had quails. No, no. It was parakeets, it was finches, and then in the pigeon coop I had pigeons and doves. Love Mexican food. Oh yes, been looking for some good Mexican food. Haven't really found anything that blows my mind yet. One of the first nights I went to a restaurant and probably had the worst burrito I've ever had in my life. Uh, I should have known because it was called a gringo burrito. So I should have known I was in for trouble. But basically, what it was is a tortilla shell, and the only thing that was in the tortilla shell was like meat, and the meat was dry. It was like fajita meat, but it had been under a heat lamp for like 6 hours, so it had kind of the consistency of like uh, jerky, like beef jerky. And it was like rubbery and chewy, and that was all that was in it. And there was a tortilla shell, and then they coated the outside with Velveeta cheese. It was horrible. Worst Mexican food I've ever had. So I don't go back to them anymore. Uh, but there are a whole bunch of Mexican places around here, and I love Mexican food. So yeah, I'll definitely try that at some point. Yeah, I love Mexican. The hotter the better. At Disney, they used to, in addition to the cast commissaries that they had, they contracted like catering trucks to come in. We called them road coaches, and one of the road coaches that was staged near where I worked. I ate lunch there all the time, and the uh, the person that ran the thing and the woman who was the cook, they were both authentic Mexicans, and this woman made the best Mexican food you could, and she knew I loved the spicy stuff too. So she would always like custom make it for me so that it was like just burning hot spicy. Because they had for most people they had two choices of hot sauce that you could get, and there was the mild stuff and the hot stuff. And I basically kind of laughed at them when I took one of their little cups of the hot sauce and just drank it like a shot. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll do better for you. And I got that guy. It took him about a week, but he made up something that was so hot that it made me, made my sinuses run. It made me sweat. And yeah, that was good. A taco terrier. I've never heard of that before. They finished the painting for the day. Like I said a little earlier, maybe you weren't here then. I think when I first saw them doing it, they had done the first coat. And they did a really kind of lousy job with the first coat, but it looked like they were doing a second coat today, and maybe they're doing a little better. I haven't walked around yet and looked to see what happened, but um, it did look like maybe they were doing a second coat, so it may be better. Yeah, Shakey's. I remember Shakey's when I was a kid. There was one just right around the corner. We used to go there all the time when I was a kid. That was it. Oh, I see. We got another troll. Bye bye, troll. I don't have a problem. I guess people asking me if I'm gay. No, I'm not gay, but too many of those. It looks like they're accusing me of being gay, as if that's a problem. I just don't have room for that. Why would I want to put up with negativity when I got 172 people in here that want to talk to me? What's your favorite beer? That's a good question. I like IPAs. I like a really hoppy beer. So that's really my favorite thing. So I like Fat Tire. That's a good one. There was something made by Carl Strauss, which is a California microbrew. And they had something called Tower 10 IPA that I'm a huge fan of. I like Sam Adams, but I just like to try something new. I like going to restaurants that have their own breweries on the property, and just try something. You get the best beer in those places. Yeah, yeah. When Jordan and I went to Oktoberfest at Old World last year, they had some really fantastic beer. We brought our own steins with us, and that was a lot of fun. And yeah, they had some fantastic beer. Yeah, always been. I always like IPAs. I like Hefeweizens. Basically, I like stouts. I'm even somebody that can sit down and drink a Guinness. Uh, about the only thing I'm not really a fan of is like pilsners. You know, at the beginning when I first started drinking beer, I just didn't think I liked beer. I learned after a while I just don't like bad beer. It'd probably be the same with coffee too. I don't drink coffee either. I've had 2 cups of coffee in my life, and neither of them were particularly satisfying. I love the smell of coffee, and I would bet you if I actually ever had a good cup of coffee, I'd probably like it. But caffeine doesn't work on me, so I don't really, there's no real benefit to it. I'm not getting the caffeine buzz that everyone else uh, supposedly gets. I've tried the Shiner Bock. It's all right. What did I do at Disneyland? I worked in the parades department over at California Adventure. I was one of the people that drove the floats. So if you ever went and watched a parade, it's possible I might have been in that float. Action movies, yes. Terminator and Rambo, both of them are great. I keep being amazed how great the original Terminator is, and Terminator 2 is even better. It's very rare that you see a sequel that actually is better than the original, especially when the original was as good as that. Haven't run into the games as yet. I would love to meet them though. That would be fun. It'd be fun to work with them. That would be something to be. I think I'd be a natural at. Yeah, I know a lot of people love coffee. Jordan's the same way. Like I said, I love the smell of it. And I would bet you if I had a cup of good coffee, the two times I had it, it was like, instant coffee and just wasn't impressed. Never could make it taste good. But like I said, I love the smell. I used to, when I go over to my Sprouts back in California, whenever I go from the back of the store up to the cashiers, I'd always go through the coffee aisle because I love the smell. Love coffee candy, love coffee ice cream. It's all great. I just, you know, the caffeine supposedly isn't that good for you, and since it doesn't give me any benefit, there's just no reason to get into a $6 a cup habit. Founder's Breakfast Stout. Never heard of that. Yeah, like I said, probably not going to take a whole lot of recommendations on coffee just because I don't get the caffeine buzz from it. So uh, no real benefit to it. Yeah, a lot of people can't survive without their morning coffee. I understand completely. I'm just not one of them. Yeah, Predator was great too. No, not really big on desserts on or sweets. I used to be more so, but I don't do a whole lot of sweets right now. I like spicy things. I like salty things. That's what kind of does it for me. Yeah, I know. Still going. It's been more than 2 hours. This is a record one. But you know what? I'm okay for a while. I see people are starting to peel off. We moved away from our highs of what 230, but we're still 175. That was more than my peak the other day. I have not been to the Texas Rangers Museum. I think I've driven past it a couple times. I'll check it out some point. Certain place I'd like to visit in Texas. I've been to Dealey Plaza when I was here a couple months ago, scoping the place out. I had one day where I didn't really have any place to go, so I decided to just go into Dallas and check out Dealey Plaza. That was fun. Uh, but I guess everyone and their brother has vlogged that, so there's probably not a lot of reason to do that one. Um, it would be fun to go look at the Branch Davidians. Like I said, it's things that catch my attention. Somebody on one of the comments on one of my videos said something about a dinosaur park in the area where they had like footprints or something like that. I'll have to check that out at some point because dinosaurs. That's one of the things that's cool. Dinosaurs and mammoths and strange animals that don't exist anymore and all that that's all kind of fun. I actually looked at Rockwall when I was here a few months ago. When I was here, oh wow, that's a whole other story. I had a When I first arrived, there was something wrong with the credit card I had. The magnetic strip on the back was had been damaged, and it wasn't being able to read very well. And it was like 2 in the morning. I had arrived, and I couldn't get a rental car because they couldn't read my card, and they weren't allowed to punch in the numbers manually, and they didn't have a chip reader, and so they kept trying over and over and over again, and couldn't do it. And finally, after spending an hour on the phone trying to talk to the bank, figuring out what they could do about it, they couldn't do anything either. I just ended up getting an Uber and going home to my hotel for that night. And then I had to come back the next day and deal with the issue. And when I was driving back, the Uber driver was a very talkative individual and was asking me what I was doing in town. And I told him, and he said, "Oh, yeah, you might want to check out Rockwall too." And I did go there on one day. I wasn't really that into it. One of the things I really want to see in a property that I buy is I want to see some real property. You know, lived in California my whole life where, they give you a postage stamp for a backyard. And, I want something a little bigger. I want a nice yard. And one of the things I noticed is that all the houses I looked at in Rockwall, they were all very nice. They were beautiful houses, but they all had like postage stamp backyards, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'd like to find something with an acre or more. That'd be great. Good night, Sluggo. I didn't see you say goodbye, but I see everyone else saying goodbye to you. So, do they drink a lot of Budweiser in Bud, Texas? Yeah, I suspect that summer is sweltering just about everywhere in Texas. But you're right. When you're down by the water, then it's going to be the heat and the humidity and the mosquitoes that are big enough to carry you away. So I think I'm kind of running out of time. So I think I'm going to maybe shut this down. It seems like everyone's kind of running out of ideas here. So we've gone for a couple hours now. This was a good one. I'll definitely stop by and do another one of these again. For those of you in Europe, I think I'm going to try this weekend to do one more geared towards your time zone. Of course, everyone else is free to to stop in, but I don't want you guys always to have to be up at 2 in the morning to watch my live stream. So I think maybe on Saturday or Sunday this weekend, I'll do a live stream like noon here, and that should be like 7 or 8 uh, in in Europe. So we'll see. Yes, I did get the plants out of the pods. They were in the first pod, so they all survived. Some of them are a little brown or a little yellow, but I think they're all going to make it. So we're doing good on that. So thanks again for everyone for stopping by. And like I said, that's what this is all about. This was all about thanking you guys for just making my subscriber channels or my subscribers just go through the stratosphere a couple days ago. I really wanted to thank you all for that because that just means so much to me. All right, so that's all I got. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Good night, everyone.